in the Christian culture, we sweep some behavior under the rug. And
Yeah.
I want to say up front, both of my girls have been mean, and they have both had mean girls attack them. And so it's both. And I think after, you have two girls, or even the first, you even like pre-K or like kindergarten, you're like, oh, my daughter might have done something too. So full disclaimer that both of us know our kids can be toots too. So how do you just not sweep it under the rug to be like, oh, that's just girls being girls? Because that's not kind.
No, it's not. And I think that that's so much of the problem is, I think as moms, and I was guilty of this too, and I say this, is I think as long as it's not your kid being targeted, you tend to just be like, it's all fine. And you're not paying attention to what's going on in the group unless it starts to affect your child in a negative way. And then you start to realize like, oh, this is bad. Like what's happening here? And I think you have to look at just the way that you're allowing, I think to say girls are being girls, because I mean, I write about it. I had a mom say that exact same thing. And she was like, no, this is just girls being girls. And I'm like, no, your daughter sent my daughter a text saying, I'm going to blow up your life and tell whatever lies I have to tell to destroy you. You're like, that's not, in what world? I was like, is this a dystopian? Are we in the Hunger Games? Because this is not girls being girls. And I think that there has to be grace, and I think there has to be forgiveness because they're going to make mistakes, and they're going to have times that they're going to leave somebody out, or they're not going to invite somebody, or somebody's feelings are going to get hurt. Because that's part of the whole problem is we're dealing with these really emotionally immature kids who are learning. And the way you learn is you have to have an adult in your life saying, that is not kind. That is not the way you treat people.
Right.
You've got to keep, shepherding them back to where they need to be. That's our job as moms, is we lead the way by saying, this is what it looks like to be kind and loyal and honest with a friend, but we have to show them that because they don't know that.
Yeah. I agree. And I think the ages can be tricky. So I think if I'm correct, Caroline was high school. Was that when this really get to your head? All right. So back up to like elementary, even like those early years, those are the years when you can step in. You're like, well, then that girl's not invited over, or that we're going to talk to the teacher and have them separate tables if they're fighting all day. And then as they get older, so talk to the mom right now that's like, I don't know if I should step in, because there's extremes on like always stepping in and handling it for them and being like this hovering, way too involved mom. Then there's the other extreme with like not caring at all. And both are dangerous. And so how do you know? That's a big question, but like age appropriate, when do I step in? And then just balancing that, like when do you go in that fierce protective mode and say, no, I'm getting involved in this.
I mean, I think that to me, what I tried to do, and I didn't do it perfectly, but I think the goal is you really want to equip them to be able to handle it on their own. I think if we're always stepping in, we're not teaching them, hey, here's how you navigate a hard relationship. Here's how you have tough conversations. Here's how you're honest with a friend. Like, they have to have those coping skills. And I think that this is all part of that process. And so I think it depends on the kid, because Caroline for a long time was like, I've got it. Like, I'm fine. I'm going to be fine. And even when she was coming home from school and was so upset and crying, and it just felt like it had been going on forever, she was just like, I've got it. I can handle it. I can handle it. And it finally got to a point where we watched her, Perry and I, my husband, watched her just kind of become this, like, we started to recognize, we were like, she's kind of becoming a shell of herself. Like, it just felt like there was no joy.
Wow.
And that's when we were like, and I had been praying like, God, do we move schools? Do we, what do we do? And so I felt like God just kept saying, be still, just trust me. Because the thing is I think our knee jerk is we're going to like get you out of this environment. But
that's right.
Like, but that's not a solution either necessarily. And so, but there was a day very specifically, and we had been praying for wisdom, where Perry was like, we're done. Like, we're stepping in. And he basically told her, like, this is war.